We are back. You are chatting with John P. Today we are going to be talking about a recent watch release from Chopard and how I believe that this watch is really going to push the entire watch industry forward. Now, I know that's a lot to really think about, a lot to comprehend, right? A brand like Chopard, which is kind of really known for jewelry for the most part. Though they have had some watches that are notable over time, but really they are a luxury house, a luxury goods house that are known for their jewelry. But they have been making investments into the watch community and watches that we should be excited about as enthusiasts and collectors. We'll get into that, but first I'd like to first show you my wrist. On the wrist I got the old Rowing Blazers Seiko. Shout out to the Blazer boys, Eric and Jack. Very cool watch. It doesn't get enough wrist time, but that's because at delraywatch.com I get to try out all the different watches, and they come through the door where we buy, sell, and trade. And actually, Federico, if you don't know him, but you probably do, Federico Talks Watches, a YouTube channel, my business partner, he has been cutting the prices on so many watches. I ask him, Fed, why are you doing this? And he does it just kind of, he gets in the mood. You know, Fridays, he's feeling good, he's happy, and he just goes through. So check it out. We've actually got a lot of great things on there, Delray Watch. So, Chopard, what is the watch in question? Alpine Eagle, if you're familiar, they release an Alpine Eagle, go figure, an integrated sports watch design watch in the last few years. This is modeled after the original Chopard St. Moritz. I've made videos in the past saying how great the watch may be, but also kind of criticizing it. I think to a certain extent, really thinking that they should have continued the product line when it was the St. Moritz all the way today, the Alpine Eagle, and also kind of the history of the family with the brand. And it's kind of a silly story that I thought was really reminiscent of advertisements that Patek Philippe puts out. But this recent release is very interesting for two reasons. This Alpine Eagle 8 Hertz high-frequency watch is going to be something that us as watch geeks can really get excited about because of the beat rate. Now, this watch is going to be running at 8 Hertz. Now, for most people, okay, well, what does that mean? Well, most luxury watches out there are running maybe 2.5 Hertz. There are some out there that move upwards closer to 5. And for those of you real watch geeks are probably going to call this out in the back of your head. Yes, Zenith has some watches that go like 18 Hertz, right? They have something like the Inventor watch, which is quite an expensive watch, but they're, for the most part, luxury watches are running at that 2.5 to 5 Hertz, sometimes 4. I believe a modern Rolex is something like 4 Hertz. Now, for those of you not familiar, Hertz is going to be aesthetically how smooth the hand is moving, but also how fast the watch moves. It beats, which is going to make it more precise in very simplistic terms. Now, technical terms, you know what that is you have the balance wheel, and that's going to be how many times per second that the balance wheel oscillates. So at 8 Hertz, the balance wheel is going to be oscillating or moving 8 times per second, which is a lot. I mean, go figure with the 18. But for a sports watch, I think that is a big play from Chopard because it shows their dedication to us as watch enthusiasts, to those that actually care about that thing, right? It's one thing to come out with a special type of steel, which they did with the Alpine Eagle. They said, hey, you know, because we have all this experience working with metals as a premier jewelry house in the world, we are going to come out with this own steel, and they have this kind of like smooth, buttery steel. It kind of feels like an over-polished watch, in my opinion, but that's a great feeling. That is a nice, smooth, buttery feeling on the wrist. Silly to talk about it in that way, but that's what it is, a nice, smooth steel, and that means the watch is comfortable and wearable for that reason. So what Chopard actually does here is they put it in titanium. You know, they come out with this watch, they put it in titanium, and I think that further goes to show that they want to do something interesting, not for just casual buyers, but those that are going to look at the subtleties, look at the specs, consider the technical functionality and also the components of a watch. And that's something that, I hate to say it, you don't see a lot necessarily from Rolex any longer. Sure, they came out with the Sky Dweller, and that is technically a complicated watch, and they come out with very cool aesthetically looking watches, but you don't really see things from a lot of brands that are focused technically, right? Occasionally you get a novelty item, but to take a sports watch and make it technically pleasing, I think goes to show that Chopard is trying to set a certain bar in the industry of, hey, if we can do this, I mean, I'm pretending like I am this fictitious Chopard person, right? But hey, if we can, make a sports watch that fills the needs, wants, and desires of people that are into the technical aspects and enthusiast-related qualities of a watch, why can't anyone else do it? In fact, Patek Philippe could do it, but I think the Nautilus also runs at something like, I want to say 4 hertz. I think the Patek Philippe Nautilus, the latest edition, runs at 4 hertz. This is doubling that. And, the watch is going to be twice as smooth. Technically, are you going to be able to notice that with the eye? That's debatable. There might be some people out there that say that they can, but maybe under a macro lens or something like that, slowed down, you can notice these things. That would be an interesting video, I think, if I can get my hands on one of these. But personally, once again, I'm excited because it goes to show that brands now are starting to take notice of us as enthusiasts. We're growing in numbers, and no longer can the brands that don't focus on it. I think it's going to be much more difficult, what I'm saying, for brands that don't focus on enthusiasts to exist and remain still a going concern and ignore us. So I'm very excited for that. What do you guys think? Do you think that this is a big deal, or maybe do you think I'm just getting excited over nothing? Do you like the watch? Do you not like the watch? Leave that in the comments below. Also, in the previous video, I shot and I asked what you'd like to see in the future. Please don't forget to leave that here. Once again, I did take notice, but I do plan on making those videos in the future, but I just wanted to release this quick one because as I thought about it, it just makes so much sense, and I'm really excited to see that brands that really never cared about enthusiasts starting to not only care, but double down on enthusiast-focused watches. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments below. Thanks, guys. You've been chatting with John P. Ciao.